Hello, hello, and welcome to a glorious 2016. This is the first episode in 2016 of The Wondrous Stuff, and it's episode number 55, I believe. It's the place where you'll find all news and information on commentary on science and engineering and technology from the past week and beyond. That's the same as last year. We'll have all of that. Anything else that interests us inside our tiny little human brains, as ever, that's all going to come. As always, my name is John Gardner, and to help us out on the journey to knowledge, let me introduce my colleagues, Richard Smith and Ross Davidson. Say a nice new year and a happy chappy. Hello.
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 I don't know what I'm talking about, but no change there. So, how was everybody's Yuletide festive frivolities?
Nice and relaxing.
Good. Yes, mine was quite relaxing as well. What about yours, Richard?
And
Not relaxing.
Apart from having two high maintenance children to look after.
High maintenance children. Yes, I don't have the
Is
high
there any other
maintenance.
type?
No, it's actually just their children.
Right. Okay. Well, so this is the first one of 2016, and as our annual. I don't know what I'm talking about. Annually, this time last year, basically, what I'm saying is, this time last year, we predicted a load of stuff for what was going to happen in 2015. So we've got that in this show. But I'm going to start off with something about satellite internet. Now, satellite internet, if you were around in the rural parts of Britain in the end of the 90s, start of the 21st century, like Ross was,
And still is.
But things have moved on, thank God. So basically it was the only way you were going to get anything like a broadband connection, and quite frankly, it wasn't really very fast. It was only marginally faster than a modem. And the way it used to work was you'd have a geostationary satellite open the Clark belt. A big one. It was normally quite a big, decent satellite, chunky thing. You'd have your ground station and earth station, and that would relay stuff up to the satellite. You'd have a little dish antenna on the side of your house with a transceiver. You'd have a modem in your house, and there'd be some network monitoring. And basically the way it used to work was that the dish on the side of your house only downloaded traffic. The modem pushed the request for the data all the way down a normal telephone line to the ground station, and that went up to the satellite, and that's how it all worked. So the download speed was quite high. The upload speed was like 56k modem types.
Is that similar to how Sky Television works then?
Does that need a I don't know, because I've only ever had cable.
It needs a satellite dish for download. I'm not sure if the upload goes back.
Yeah, the upload will go through your phone line.
Yeah, so it's very similar then. Very similar. So that's the way it used to work, and to be honest, I think Simon had something like that, didn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's hideous, and it's really, really expensive for what you get. So basically, I had naively thought that had all gone now because we were getting at least reasonably fast broadband through copper wires or fiber or whatever, or coax or whatever. But of course, what I didn't take into account was that there's still huge parts of the developing world, Africa, that still have a really, really patchy internet connections. And some don't have internet connections at all. So, there is I was going to say company, but they're sort of a non-profit making organisation. And they're called Outernet. And they've got this project where you can... Well, it's not really satellite internet. It's using satellites, and it's using the internet, and it's using data that is on the internet, but it's a way of distributing data to sort of small groups that aren't connected to the internet. So let me give you an example. It's kind of like they're making a repository of like a library repository, a digital repository in a local area. So I'll give you an example of what's happening. So basically, this Outernet organization are pushing up a load of little CubeSats, which we've talked about before, and they're using those to bounce data up and down to certain little boxes. Now, let me see if I've got these little boxes. These boxes are called, they're called lighthouses, and they look like slightly bigger. Of course, I'm never going to do this if I type it. They look like slightly bigger Raspberry Pis. I'll give you. So they're probably about that big. And what they have in the back of them is a cable for a satellite dish, and this satellite dish can be any satellite dish, that like television satellite dish receiver, and they also have some Wi-Fi hotspot in it, and some method of storing data. And what you do is you upload data via a web page. So somebody would upload like a PDF document and say, I would like to share this PDF document with some people in Africa. And what happens is this will sit there as a Wi-Fi hotspot, download the data through the satellite, and store it locally. So you're actually having data. So everybody's got mobile phones now. Even people in Africa have mobile phones. So they use the Wi-Fi hotspot to download data to a box, and then redistribute it on that box.
So it's actually a dedicated network then?
Well, I mean, the local hub is like a little Wi-Fi hub. So if you've got a very small local African community, they'll be able to connect to this Wi-Fi hub, and it will send down data to that hub from the satellite. So you're not making a request. Somebody else is making the request of data that you should. So like there's core data like literature and stuff, and scientific documents that get sent down there anyway. So it's not an internet connection. It's just using faculties of the internet.
Yeah.
To get and that's what they do. That's how they're using sort of the satellite the internet-based satellite systems
It's
nowadays.
a workaround until they get a trans whatever cable underneath.
Yeah, well, I mean they've got one. The problem is they've got one in Africa, but they've only got one for the whole continent.
Yeah.
So quite quickly that's going to get saturated, and also, as it has happened before, when they put it in originally, when they laid the cable under the sea, it got snagged on a boat and snapped.
Yeah.
So it was out of action for like 8 months or something. So that's what they're using it now. So I thought it was like interesting. I didn't know that they were still doing stuff like that. But that's what they're doing. It's called Outernet. If you want to go and give some money to them or have a look at what's happening. To be honest, their website's a bit. You can't really find much information on it because they've got a website, like a little glossy website, and then but it's all connected into like a wiki at the back end, and half the links don't work. It's very hard to find out what they actually do. But I found a few other information.
It's quite interesting. I mean, I was over in Africa, not last year, but the year before, with a charity, and yeah, their internet was terrible. It was better to buy data on a mobile and tether with a mobile, because they've actually got like sort of 3G coverage. So that was much faster than their internet connection. But I think recently, I'm sure they posted that they have actually got a proper internet connection there now. So it'd be quite interesting to know if it's anything similar or related to that. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, so I mean, I know that. Let me just have a little quick check. I know they were saying that the Outernet, they've got partners in Mali and quite a lot of countries, and they are actually rolling out these boxes. So they're obviously finding some use for them. Speaking as for somebody like me who's sitting there with a 50, 100 meg connection, whatever. But if you haven't got any connection at all, then you can still get some data this way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's been discussed quite widely in various documents and periodicals and the like. So, and it's only been going. I think it's only been going since last year. So we'll just see what's happening with that, if anything happens. Right. Okay. So that is just something that I felt was quite interesting. So I thought I'd start the show with that. But basically, now we're getting on to the real crux of the matter. This is where we all basically randomly say stuff that is never going to come true. Last year, I have to say, last year we kind of got some stuff right. So what happened last year is we had Alex on the show that we were doing our predictions with last year, Mr. Taylor, and we came up with some predictions for 2015. The predictions that we had were things like, Ross said, oh, the Oculus Rift is going to be big, and Project Morpheus and Magic Leap. Do you remember them?
A year too early with that, because
it's just come out now, isn't it?
They've just this last week, their pre-orders for the Oculus have started at a whopping £499. Which
yes,
I think,
$599 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, which is a big surprise to a lot of people. The dev kits were $350, and they were all saying, "Oh, it's going to be the same ballpark," and it's nearly twice as much. So there's a few people not happy, but they've still sold all their pre-orders.
Have you got one in yet?
Not for the Oculus, no. I like the look of the Vive, the HTC Vive, which is the one with, interesting enough, the lighthouses, which is, that's what they call their boxes that do the tracking.
All right.
So they're actually boxes that fire, I think they fire a laser pulse around. So you have a couple of them, and then that's how it does the positional tracking.
So have
they have the hand controllers as well with the positional. So I
what, like the old what the little orbs on?
Well, they're sort of like hoops with detectors on.
All right.
But yeah, Oculus have got some coming out in Q3 or something this year as well. So it's going to be expensive to do VR. And Magic Leap, still nobody knows what that is yet. But I think they're nearly on $1 billion worth of funding.
Wow.
And no one's seen it yet.
Well, I can see it on the website. That's where the big wheel comes around and crashes around. But that's all I've seen. But that can be easily done with an Apple Mac.
Well, there was a video went around not so long ago which was supposedly filmed through a real physical device, and it showed a sort of someone going up to like a desk, and then it had like sort of a solar system with like a sun and planets going around, and it did look. It didn't look real, but it was obviously real, if you know what I mean. So they're definitely doing something clever.
And Project Morpheus, which is like PlayStation VR, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because again, I think that's going to be quite expensive, because everyone's been saying PlayStation 4 isn't powerful enough, because the recommended minimum specs for the Oculus is like a 970 NVIDIA card, and it's like a sort of a £1,000 machine effectively. And the PlayStation 4 obviously is not that, but they reckon that's going to have a separate box. It actually has its own box that does something accelerated.
So some sort of extra GPU or something.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to be cheap either. So I still think it's going to be a big thing, but it may take a bit longer with cost and that sort of thing.
So we were about a year out, possibly with that. Now, Richard, you said Oculus Rift as well. I think it was a running joke that everybody said Oculus Rift by the end of the section. But you also said things like 5G and Internet of Things were going to be big.
I think I've probably been a year out with Internet of Things as well. I do think that this year will be a big thing. It's just a little bit longer to get going than.
One thing that I think will help with that. Which it does exist but doesn't seem to be widely spread, is the sort of wireless charging thing. You can get it in some mobile phones and tablets, but I've got a Fitbit watch, which is it's like the Internet of Things. It's a connected device, but it's a right hassle having to take off the watch and plug it in to charge. It would be nice to be able to sort of, I suppose it depends on how wireless charging would work, but if you could do it without having to actually physically plug it in, and obviously having on small devices, actually having a connector for plugging something in makes it bigger. So I think if they can sort a standard. I don't know if there is one for wireless charging. I think that'll help.
I'm gonna show you something. Right, this is something that I bought in over Christmas. I'm starting to do some reviews of what we're calling chismos, which are Chinese gizmos.
Excellent.
So this is what I bought over Christmas.
What is that?
That is a smartwatch, right? It's got a charging thing on the side.
Does it have a cable built in?
No, it's just got a USB slot on the side.
Like blimey.
How much do you think that is?
What does it do?
Does it work?
You've got notifications, and you can.
It's got an operating system on it then.
Yeah. It's got I'm doing the review, and it'll be over on my website, and I'll put a link to it when I'm finished it. But yeah, it's a smartwatch, so you've got
Unix-like system on it, or has it got actually a proper? Has it got Android on it or something? Or what?
It's got a little Android. When you switch it on, it's got a little Android character, but I'm not sure it's entirely Android, right. Or any of it is Android actually. That is. This is just shows you how much smart gear and smartwatches and stuff have come down. That there is £18. And that is including customs charge. It's not brilliant, but it does sync. It does Bluetooth sync up to your phone. You can get notifications like text messages and stuff. You can make a phone call from this phone using your phone, and you can actually speak because it's got a microphone and a.
So what does it do that a mobile telephone doesn't do?
Well, it doesn't have a SIM in it.
So it does something that a mobile telephone does do, but what does it do that a mobile telephone doesn't do?
Well, it's on your wrist, isn't it?
That's the whole point. Take your phone out. Yeah,
so just get your phone out of your pocket.
Yeah. You can.
This,
and you get
this
when you get text messages, they pop up. So you just.
But
this reminds me of something when the sort of Apple Watch came out first, and people were talking about what's the advantage of that over a phone, and someone I can't remember who was saying to me well, if you imagine in a meeting, if you get a message, it's really rude to pick up your phone and do that, right?
I do that all the time.
But I was thinking, hold on, the alternative is going to be you're sitting in a meeting and you're looking at your watch. That's even ruder. You know what I mean?
But even if it didn't have that connotation, it's only a matter of time until everyone knows what you're looking at.
Exactly.
So it's going to be exactly the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah. If we're talking Christmas gadgets tech, I've got one. I have a Bluetooth hat.
Right. It's got speakers in, has it?
It's got speakers and a little music player.
Cool.
It's actually really, really good. Because I like listening to music when I'm going on my way to work, but it's always a pain having headphones.
So how does that differentiate itself from earphones then?
Well, it's built into a hat.
So I've got to hear it if I'm standing close to you then.
Well, no, it's like having headphones on.
Basically, somebody's got a standard woolen hat and then put wireless headphones in it.
Yeah.
At roughly the point where your ears are.
It's genius. And
is it genius?
It is. I have to charge my hat. I think it's just brilliant. Anyway.
Well, actually, one of the things that we did say last year was that in the coming year we would have internet-enabled slippers. Yeah. And I have to say, I haven't found them yet.
It's only a matter of time.
Bound to be out there somewhere.
There's internet-enabled trousers, I know.
I guess the prediction I was really trying to make, which hasn't happened yet, which I don't know if I made it for that year, but I think it's something that's coming, is the kind of civic deployment of internet-connected things. I think, bin lorries, the bin itself being connected, lampposts, streetlights, all that sort of thing, where they've got their own systems which are proprietary systems which are managing all of that, and surely a lot of that would make sense to, probably in some forward-thinking cities, no doubt they're already trying it out, but a lot of that, the civic stuff, would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? To be,
I think that's already being done. Although I don't know whether it's internet enabled, but it's certainly a lot of the street lights now that they're putting in around our way. The little LED street lights have got little antennas on the top.
Yeah.
So they can tell you if the bulb's gone, or they can tell you if it's gone. There's no power to it or whatever. Anyway, what I said last year. So that's what Richard said, and to be fair, Richard's a lot of the things they were there. I remember we took the piss out of him about the iKettle, and I said, "Why the hell would you want an internet-enabled kettle?" And Richard said, "Why not? why wouldn't you not want an internet?" So, and I said, "Well, I'm still looking for the hoverboard." Well, obviously things have come much further.
Trade Descriptions Act should get in on that.
Well, hang on now, because obviously I'm thinking the first thing that everybody said a hoverboard was this. This is quite clearly not a hoverboard. It's got fucking wheels.
The Lexus one looked. What happened with that then? Because that looked like the real deal.
Now hang on, I'm coming to that. This is the Lexus one.
Yeah.
Let me just do that. So this is the Lexus one. Just for those who haven't seen it, if you're on the podcast, you've got no hope. But this is the Lexus one.
This is the video that they put out at the time that people were very, very skeptical of, because the smoke, which is meant to be liquid nitrogen, people were saying A, they couldn't figure out what the purpose of that was, and B, how would you ever get approval for a consumer device to have liquid nitrogen in it?
Well, it's a maglev thing, isn't it? Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you need a magnetized.
The whole run is maglev.
Yeah.
There's like magnets under that piece of water when it goes in the water like that. So yeah, that's as close as I think we've got to what I would said.
But is that actually working? But is that for real? That video, is it?
It is for real, yeah. But it's very closely, it's like very close conditions. You can't just take it out. So what? Hang on now. Aha. So I thought, well, maybe I missed some other ones. Turns out I did miss some other ones, some quite important ones, like this one, for instance. This one was a Guinness Book of Records attempt, and this is the highest anybody's gone on, and the furthest anybody's gone on a hoverboard. So if you look at
quite impractical.
This is a genuine hoverboard, kind of, sort of.
It's a helicopter.
It's not. It's got no rotors on it.
It does?
It doesn't have rotors on it.
Well, how's it work then?
It's pushing down into the water, so there's like fans.
Fans, rotors, that's what I mean.
Okay. So there's that one. So that was like in summer.
That's legit.
Yeah, that's genuinely legit. That worked because that's the Guinness Book of Records.
That definitely counts as the first hoverboard, like.
And then there's this one, which this is quite new. This is like only the last couple of months. This is the Arca board, which I'm going to show you now. This looks like a big piece of Lego. Let me just show you. So this guy on this green brick. And this is the inventor who's doing this thing here. I think he's Romanian.
You have to do that with your hands, do you?
Well, I think he's just getting his balance, to be honest, because it's obviously quite... But this shows you how it's all made. There's loads of fans and batteries in the middle, and it's probably weighs a ton.
but and it's a board.
It is a board, and it does hover, and it doesn't have anything...
The thing is, if you can make that, and it's reasonably cheap to make, then it's just a matter of time, isn't it, until it gets refined downsized and made in China and doled out, isn't it?
It's true. I mean, we're getting there. So I think we're genuinely at the stage where I can say that, yes, last year was the year of the hoverboard.
Yeah.
Which was coincidentally the year that they came back.
2015, wasn't it?
So yeah, are you going to say your prediction is that 2016 is the year for the consumer hoverboard then?
I'm going to say that's probably in 2017. I would have said.
Right.
I'm gonna say stability issues.
Well, hang on. Hang on. We're not in the prediction stage yet. That was just the review of last year.
Right.
God, just run away with us. Right. So that was the review of last year, everybody.
Stop. That was the review. Continue.
Now this is the review of 2016. Richard,
Crazy.
Would you like to start us off?
Well, I've got a few around China.
Yes, a big country with lots of people.
Yeah, and the financial situation there, which we're not in the business of talking about that, but I think as a result of of low demand in China, we've seen all sorts of financial problems. We've seen all sorts of situational problems for them as well. So I think that the Communist Party in China, their rules going to come into question. So I think that's going to be something socially that's going to happen. I think in terms of science, technology, and engineering, I think that's going to make a couple of things. I mean, that isn't really that much to do with what we're talking about, but I think the demand for animal protein is something that we're going to see a massive shift in, because what you're going to have is the middle and working class of China are going to become wealthy very soon, and socially mobile, and I think they're going to want to eat meat. They're going to want to eat, good food, protein sources. So I think that's going to be a huge thing. So
isn't China having a bit of a financial crisis at the moment? Didn't their stock market get took
basically
offline
what happened was they put rules in place so that if they had a big downturn in the marketplace, and they did this last year, this is around summer, and that they wouldn't everybody in the marketplace wouldn't spook, because they would basically they would automatically shut down the trading.
And they've done it twice in one day or something.
And this is the thing, though, because they honestly the Communist Party of China think that they really can control the free market, which is, you can't mix the two. This is what they're finding out now.
That's what they're trying to do, though, isn't it?
Eh?
That's what they're trying to do, is regulate the market whilst from in and
So basically, they put these rules in place where if you've got a free fall of the market, it would terminate the trading floor, and you would all go away and look at themselves very, very carefully and come back the next day and not being so... Yeah, you think about what you're doing. But of course, because of the state media, they put out an information. This was the first one they did, the first one that happened, I think it was last week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The start of last week, the Monday. They put out a big statement message on all the television channels saying, this is a 1 in a 10-year blip. By Thursday, it had happened again.
2 in a 10-year blip.
Yeah, so now they're really getting to the grips of the matter that you cannot control the free market economy.
They're not the first country to try it, and it won't work, because you can't have a constrained free market. It's a contradiction in terms, isn't it?
Yeah. So sorry, Richard, but that's going to be quite a big thing this year. And
yeah, definitely. And I think the demand for animal protein will see the demand for potash fertilizer drive up significantly as well. I think that's...
Or even potash.
Potash, yeah.
I thought you just meant posh.
Potash sounds much better.
Potash.
So I think you'll see those combination of things happening. And we've talked about fission and fusion, and I think we're going to see fusion emerge as a maybe not this year, but I think you're going to see sort of some attempts to make that practical.
Yeah, there should be some definite results from the tests they've been doing, because there was that one we talked about last year, the Wendelstein,
which got more hits than any of our other stories last year.
Exactly.
So obviously people are interested.
There's definitely results that can then be used to take proper attempts at doing it productively forwards, I think. But yeah, whether or not that'll be in the course of the year, I'm not sure.
And the only other things I'd written down was to do with stuff we've talked about before. So driverless vehicles, going to be the year for that, surely. This one's a bit out.
Can I talk about that one? Because I've got that on my list as well. So I don't know if you want to talk about that now or...
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know, I was going to say I've got that on my list, and the reason for that, I think, is the work that Tesla are doing. Because what they're basically doing is sort of introducing the idea of a driverless car incrementally. They're doing software releases, they're doing patches to the car. They did one, I think it was last year, they did the one that introduced the sort of autonomous driving on the highway. And what they did with that was basically because it was designed to just work on like the motorway. And they were very careful to say this is just for motorways, not for windy little roads and stuff. I think
again. So basically, I was going to say something about this as well. And they've got the new version of the Tesla version 3's out next year. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, the way they've done it, like you said, they've done it incrementally. They've basically just said, well, you had cruise control before, and you had sort of like parking sensors, and you had avoidance sensors. Well, we're just putting them together.
Yeah, exactly. Just a little bit more.
A little bit more.
They've just released, I think it's just literally the past week or so, they've just released one where you can now tell the car to park itself. So as in it goes into your garage. So you just press a button on the remote, the garage door opens, the car parks, the garage door shuts. So little sort of upgrades like that, I think, are the way to get people used to it, rather than saying, here's a car, it does everything.
And it hasn't got a steering wheel.
Yeah,
Which
exactly,
is the way Google have done it, isn't it?
Yeah,
All we've got is a big red button to stop it. It's like, well, yeah, people don't like. I mean, we all know that people don't like change.
Yeah.
But if you incrementally push it in, they'll, 10 years later they'll go, oh, hang on, 10 years ago I had to drive. I forgot about that. But yeah, it's interesting that I think coming into a bit about what one of the things that I was going to say is, I think the whole the driverless car, the computerized center console type thing. So whether that be like a smart Android based center console or whatever, this is all coming. So they've got internet connectivity, and they've got you've got information feeds coming in. It's all starting to come together, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're just hijacking everything you're saying. We're just
sorry, Richard. Was that what you were going to say?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. This one's kind of out on a limb a little bit, but I think we're going to see a cyber attack of some significance.
A big one.
State. Yeah.
Is this a state-related one, do you reckon?
Well, I don't know whether it'll have terrorist origin. Well, I suppose by definition it'll be a terrorist attack, won't it? But I don't know. But I think it'll be on a state, or it'll be on some sort of civic system, like a power distribution. It'll be something where it's on, where they've hacked into it. So
it's not just affecting people who signed up to a website to cheat their lives.
Yeah,
something more significant.
Not people hacking Ashley Madison or something like that. It'll be a proper large scale, as in a Western government, I would say.
Because then on the Friday between Christmas and New what was it, the Thursday before Christmas and New Year, when the BBC got hacked, and I was up got up. I was up really early, and I was going into work, and I ended up was on Twitter. Just basically, people were going, "Is the BBC down?" And I was going, "Yes, it's down, but I'm sure they're working on it." And then, "Is the BBC down?" "Yes, it's down, but I'm sure to work on it." An hour and a half later, people are going, "Oh, this guy knows all about it," and it's like, I don't know any more than anybody else. So basically, then there's all these BBC presenters from local radio stations. We're retweeting me as I was some sort of like, oh, he's the BBC ops man. I was like, no, it's not. So basically, I tweeted Andy. I says, this is a big one. He goes, yep, it's a big one, but it's not my area, so I don't care. Yeah, bizarre.
But yeah, that's like those kind of incidents are like and Ashley Madison as well is a good example, isn't it? Really, but those kind of incidents are forerunners for this sort of thing, aren't they?
Well, that's what they said. I mean, the people they said, well, we didn't expect to take it all down. We were just doing a trial run for doing some ISIS hacking. So they did it thought they'd do it on the BBC, and they did actually bring it down.
When you think from a terrorism point of view, I mean, the dictionary definition of it, you can have a much bigger impact by going down that route than you can by setting off bombs, can't you?
Oh yeah, because information is power.
Yeah, you can still end violence.
If you disrupt it, you're much more important.
You can disrupt millions of people, and the impact of that on a country is bigger than killing a dozen.
Yeah. Interesting. Oh, that's a very depressing thought there, Richard. The 2016 we're going to see a massive cyber attack on a big organisation, maybe a country, by another country.
Yeah.
Wow.
Positive one.
Oh, yay!
I think we're going to see, when we talk about video games a bit, I think we're going to see that being taken more seriously. I think it's been coming for years. I think, you've seen a little bit of like fitness apps, like video games on the Wii and stuff like that, but I think we're going to see that being used by the medical community a bit more, and we're going to see games being taken. I think it should have been for a long time, but as a way to measure people's ability and performances and health, and I think we're going to see games, infiltrate into all other aspects of our lives in a good way.
That's interesting.
Yeah, for that, and it's long overdue.
It's interesting. I mean, because you're both gamers, really, aren't you? And I've never played a game since I was about 20. So it's interesting to see if, as a non-gamer, whether it will end by the end of by the end of the year, will it start to infiltrate me? Will I start be coming in that way? I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, that'll be a good check if it's
It's a
infiltrated. And it is the year of the video game, then, isn't it?
Yeah. So if next year I miss various episodes of the Wonder Stuff because I'm stuck in a game and I can't. Sorry, lads, can't.
Is that your portrayal of gamers?
Yeah, that's what needs to change, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I think even though it's so big now, I think it's time that it appealed to a broader audience, isn't it?
Well, my dad was around my house the other day, and I was showing him my new computer that I built, and I put Grand Theft Auto 5 on, and for about 5 minutes he couldn't actually believe that I was playing a game.
He thought it was a film.
He was going, how did they do that? Yeah, he was going, how did they do that? And I says, what do you mean? He goes, well, how did they do that? And I says, well, it's a game. He's going, what, you're controlling that? And I was like, yeah. And I had to give him the controller for him to actually believe that it was happening as a game, and he was just like gobsmacked.
Yeah, the graphics are getting to the level now where, when adverts of games always used to put this is not in-game footage. The in-game footage is getting, especially when you've seen some of the mods, like real-life mods for Grand Theft Auto, it's almost indistinguishable from a cinematic sequence, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's nearly at that point.
Mm-hmm. And well, actually, I think the last thing that I was going to say is drones. So I think that drones will probably, hopefully, become useful this year.
I was going to mention drones as well, and I think the interesting thing with drones is I think this year there's going to be lots and lots of regulations.
Yeah.
I think they're going to over-regulate them. I think it's going to go from...
There's not going to have to be some privacy laws.
I think the public using drones will basically be stopped. You're going to have a license and...
But that might be the only practical way to do it, because when you look at the problem, you look at the scale of the problem and how quick it's evolving.
Yeah.
Maybe all you can do as a legislator is ban it until you figure out
bring
how
it
to allow some. Yeah.
So I think
I've got a solar drone out there which is just looking in my neighbour's bedroom all day.
Yeah.
And it's great. I don't.
A solar drone. What is a solar drone? It's just a drone powered by solar.
A drone powered by light. So I don't have to come down and recharge the damn thing. Bit of a bugger in the darkness, though.
My mate brought one round the other day, one that he got for Christmas, which wasn't particularly expensive. I mean, you can get like sub £200 one now, and they're absolutely fantastic for the money.
Yeah.
The power of them and the maneuverability and stuff like that, it's incredible.
But I mean, it is
all of them.
We are currently in the phase where people are buying them for Christmas and going, oh great, look at that, it's really, oh look at the picture, oh it's great. But there's no purpose, really.
No.
So hopefully by the end of this year there is, if there's sensible legislation, we hopefully get into the stage where we can actually use them. I'd love the Amazon drone idea of delivering parcels. That would be so great. I can't see in the wildest thing how it's going to happen in build-up areas. It might very well happen in Australia. I think that'll probably be the first place it happens, because I think we did
as a very small part of their network. You mean?
Yeah. Well, they were going to, like a parcel will get to the nearest major town, and then the drone would go off to the housestead in the middle of the outback. And then
still seems even the cheap drones though, it still want to carry a parcel. It's got to be cost prohibitive, isn't it? Because even if the flight plan's automatic and it flies there by itself and stuff, they're going to break down. They're going to need maintenance and
Exactly. You're going to have a decent battery to get out to the outback, to drop and then get back.
And then if you put a huge battery in, you need a huge drone then, though, for the weight of the battery, don't you?
And then you may as well just send a helicopter.
Massive Reaper.
Yeah, Reaper. Oh my God, we're gonna. Oh no, it's just a parcel from Amazon.
Do you know that they use it for border patrol on the Mexican border? They use Reapers for that.
Did they?
Yeah. Not the armed ones, mind you. I don't think they can fire Hellfire missiles at Mexican immigrants yet. But
you don't think?
They can fire the machine gun though.
But yeah, so hopefully a few of those things will come
for that,
to
sure,
fruition.
2015 has been the year of the drone, hasn't it? Really?
Oh, it has. Yeah, absolutely. But actually, there was a story. I was clearing all my little archive of stories, and one of them from the start of the year, which I never got round to covering, was a drone paramedic kit. So basically, they would drone in a defibrillator to any area that needed it.
That's good,
yeah, and it was like, oh yeah, cool. Why didn't I cover that? But I didn't.
Do you think vegetarianism might be due for to go really big in the next couple of years? Maybe not this year, but in the next couple of years, I feel as though that might be coming.
Nah.
I think there's a lot of people going to get a shock about when they start getting food shortages, and that's I reckon that's going to come in the next. I'm not saying it'll come this year, but certainly in the next 5 years, I think you'll start getting some patchy. Yeah, I don't know what the food equivalent of a brownout is in electricity supply, but you're going to have patchy food supply. I think.
I don't know. To me, it strikes us as a similar. It's going down a similar line now as like New Atheism did, where amongst certain circles of thinking people, you saw like atheism abundant in those circles first, and then there was a filter down effect. And I think you're seeing that, not to like say it's an intellectual issue, but you are seeing that. So I've noticed in those type of circles, a lot of people are vegetarians now and have recently become vegetarians. So I was just wondering if that's like maybe a trend that might be coming. It's rather than being a trendy thing for the sake of it, which it seems to have been in the past, it now seems to be the thinking person's thing to do. I don't know.
Well, if that is true, the case the decision that I made in 1983 will have been vindicated, and I will be held aloft as some sort of soothsayer.
Yeah, because it is rare. It is rare that people actually do it for that reason, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's exactly why I became a vegetarian back when I was 11, 12.
Yeah. Normally it's just because they don't like meat in the first place, so you can't really count those people as a moral zeitgeist. But I don't know, probably not this year, but
it's coming though. It's coming. And a lot quicker. I think a lot quicker than some people would like to admit that it's going to happen. I think it's I would say 5 years.
Because something about the first vegan butcher's been opened in London, which seems like an oxymoron, but I'm sure there's in that. Yeah.
What?
But isn't
that just a grocer?
Yeah, that's what you're saying. Is that not just a green? We've already got those. But I'm sure that you know what I mean. If you're making meat alternative products and high protein products, and stuff, there's probably a market for it now enough in London. So that's a good trend.
Impossible Foods, the burger people. They're making the burger out of plant proteins, and they're going to have their first sellable product by the end of this year. So that's going to be cool. We'll see a lot. Actually, I expect we'll see a lot of that.
I'll say, jokingly, me just going no to Richard on that one about vegetarian being big. I'm saying no, but on the other hand, if the alternative meats like those Impossible Foods and stuff do come in, and that classes people going vegetarian, which it will do, I suppose, I'll say yes. Because I think that's what will happen.
I don't think it's going to be classical vegetarian. I don't think it's going to be like sitting here eating raw carrots. I think it's going to be this new protein, this new non-animal based protein, whatever form it takes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be.
I can definitely see that happening because it's sort of inevitable. I would have thought.
Well, it counts. However, if you stop eating animal products, it counts basically.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Okay, well that's brought us.
I've got a couple more.
You've got a couple more. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. It's far
a-
for me to stop the flow
purely-
of good information.
A purely technical one. I think
Go on.
foldable, bendable displays are going to become. I think last year would have probably been the year of like Ultra HD tellies becoming affordable. I still don't quite see the point of having them at the moment because there's not much content. But foldable displays, the technology is now at the point where they can actually make displays like of a suitable size. It used to be that they were just like small examples, but I think that's going to be a big thing because they can be used for all sorts of stuff, as well as being in your home rather than mounting a massive telly to the wall.
So there was it was Rory Catherine Jones, I believe, the BBC technology correspondent, was at the CES show, and he was showing one of those displays, and he was rolling it up as it was on and unrolling it and going, yeah, that's it, it's all working.
Still works, yeah.
So that's
That's
like
one thing.
whew.
And the last one comes back to something we mentioned before, that periscope thing.
Yeah.
I think obviously the puddle has been the big thing, but I do think this year that periscope app will be used for some sort of major event. Like something will happen and it will be live streamed by someone on their phone.
So to give somebody the background, Periscope is an app which allows you to use the smartphone camera and stream live video to the internet, to the world, basically. And it was used last week to film a puddle, which became an internet sensation. And I'd like to think that Ross and I had something to do with starting that off.
I think we did.
I think we did. But yes, you're right.
It was my suggestion to take the surfboard down.
Right, okay. And it was
I'm
my
just glad-
suggestion to tell Ross.
Well, exactly. I'm just glad it wasn't me that did it.
Yeah, I have to say, Charlotte has some gumption.
She got some stick.
I bet she did. But yes, Periscope could be the year of the self broadcast. I mean, I'm just thinking from the point of view of broadcast, broadcasters in just think about the fact that you don't need sort of like. You could do a wireless hotspot. You don't need a satellite phone or anything. You can just sit there. Something's happening. Get your phone out. Look, live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So a bit like Live Leak, but actually live.
Yeah, exactly.
Genuinely live, like delayed leak.
They should have to rebrand that.
Yes.
Yeah, something other than a puddle, I think, and it'll be some sort of event we'll get live streamed via that.
So so that sums it up. That's what our predictions are for 2016, and that is a great way to end the show. Except there's a couple of other things that I wanted to mention before we wrap up today. The first one is they found 4 new elements in the periodic table. So that thing there that I've got here, that's gone now. It's old.
Did the campaign to get one of them called Lemmy happen?
Lemonium.
Lemonium,
Yeah,
because
I
it's
think
heavy
so.
metal, even though he didn't do heavy metal.
No,
You
he
know,
didn't
it's-
do heavy metal. But yes, they haven't got a name for them yet.
So that's yours is redundant now. So you need to replace that with a screen that you can roll up. That's a digital one. So you keep
Yes! You're going to buy me that for next Christmas, everybody.
drop $1,000 on just displaying the periodic table.
That's it. God, yeah, I could have branding up there that forever changes. Can I advertisers sell the advertising space? Oh, brilliant. Love it. So that's the first one. The second one is that obviously Tim Peake is up in the space station, and Stargazing Live is back this week on BBC, and Tim Peake's going to do a spacewalk this week, and I don't know whether they're synchronized. I don't know. I think he might be doing it on the Friday, and they might finish on Thursday. But if you're interested in all that stuff, BBC Stargazing Live, watch that. That's Dara and Prof Brian Cox. And the other one is that we have taken an executive decision because we've all got lives, and the end of last year was particularly fraught. That people were missing things because of work and children and whatever. We've decided that we're going bi-weekly, so every 2 weeks there'll be a Wondrous Stuff, a new Wondrous Stuff. Hopefully it'll give us a chance to bring some more pragmatic and real information and stories, and not just rehash stuff that we were kind of getting in the rehashing phase. I think we all had that problem. So hopefully, if we go every 2 weeks, keep the same time on a Sunday night, but every 2 weeks we should be able to give you some decent information about science, engineering, technology. So I think that's it, guys, isn't it?
Yep.
I think so.
So good one for to start 2016 off. Let's hope they all go like as smooth as silk. But that's it. So I'd say it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from Ned.
Aye.
Well, we started off badly. The end was bad, but the middle was okay.
All right then. I'll try and make it. I must try and make it more slick. I've only been doing this for over a year. See you, everybody. Bye bye now.